jump. I admit, push and drop, have to drop till y'all know that I exist. And I'ma blow, and I'ma pop. Y'all can't possibly depict. And I'm gonna probably take risks. And I'm gonna die before I quit. I gotta take action to get stagnant, and they stopping it. Too many been passive, and they lost it. The rappers I move backwards, and they honest. Hacking the right back, and to make profit. And accurate, new acumen makes options. Meaning the accountant can be rounded when you call it a place. Everything amounted in my car. Moving with $2 in my pocket. Proving a pace you looking exhausted. Prove this Greg Newman, they can't cop. Do what I must do so they can stop. Trying to keep cool while they keep talking. Do what I must do, switches up off. I pivot, meaning I'm a tactician when I'm in it. Circling the cul-de-sac, I'm jerking. And I got all night down on fishing. Meaning I'm different. Meaning when they talk, they pay attention. Meaning they gon' pay for every cent. And I'm going 2 commas, 2 cancers. And I'm going worldwide when they all mention. Black boy with a full dream and the lesson. A black man with a sharp mind is a weapon. Yeah. 10 toes down from the jump. I'll admit, push and drop, have to drop till y'all know that I exist. And I'ma blow, and I'ma pop. Y'all can't possibly depict. And I'm gonna probably take risks. And I'm gonna die before I
changes, phases, life and it goes in stages. Patient, dedicated, write these poems and pages. Phases, stages, backtrack, go back to the basics. Don't stop till we get to the top like ooh, what? Take that shot, I'm blessed and I'm all with ease. All these men when they talk that breeze. Did that big chat, did that scene, but I won't go back. No, I switch that beat, let's get that teen. No, I got that team, no, I hit that pump, that get that clean. No, rest in peace till I said my piece. Now we gotta run with a different league. Changes, phases, life and it goes in stages. Patient, dedicated, write these poems and pages. Phases, stages, backtrack, go back to the basics. Don't stop till we get to the top like ooh, what? Take that shot. Been through phases, hit 'em with a flow and it's so contagious. Bet I'm a vet and I roll with the greatest. Shoulda, woulda, coulda got me running my paces. Get in my space and you're gonna feel mad cause I can't sit still like I'm running around tracks. And I ain't gonna stop till I go to the max. I can't stop.
You wish.
The cold does not forgive.
Red Bull gives you wings.
And if you're wondering why I move the way I do, I just feel so good. I just feel so good. I just feel so good.
One knock at the door and then we both know how the story ends. You can't win if your white flag's out when the war begins. Aiming so high, it's ringing so low. Trying to catch fire, but feeling so cold. Holding inside and hope it won't show. I'm saying it's not, but inside I know. Today's gonna be the day I notice. Cause I'm tired of explaining what the joke is.
This is what you asked for. Heavy is the crowd. Fire in the sunrise. Ashes raining down. Try to hold it in, but it keeps bleeding out. This is what you asked for. Heavy is the crowd.
Turn to run, now look what it's become. Outnumber 10 to 1. Back then should've bit your tongue. Cause there's no turning back. This path once it's begun. You're already on that list. Say you don't want what you can't resist. Waving that sword when the pen won't miss. Watch it all falling apart like this.
This is what you asked for. Heavy is the crowd. Fire in the sunrise. Ashes raining down. Try to hold it in, but it keeps bleeding out. This is what you asked for. Heavy is the crowd. This is what you asked for.
Welcome back, everyone, for one last time here in Paris for our second Worlds 2024 semi-final between Gen G and T1. Something that is written in the stars that should be one of the best of fives we see all tournament, and I certainly hope so. Here are our protagonists, Inchovy and Gen G, heading into the Adidas Arena in front of so many fans. But it will not surprise you that many of them are cheering for T1 and Faker, the reigning world champion, as they take their place here in Paris. I'm incredibly excited for today. I'll be a little sad that we have to leave this wonderful arena because it has been stellar, but let's guide you through it. My name is Shock, joined here by Kobe, Emily, and Dagda for what will hopefully be a crazy day. Yeah.
I'm excited. I mean, this should be an absolute banger. It's nice that we never really get to see these teams face off against each other.
Oh, yeah.
Something new. It's going to be enjoyable. Yeah.
I see. Say, let me ask you something. The slogan for Worlds is "Make them believe." Who do you think it's most applicable to today?
I think personally, for me, it's T1. I mean, they stumbled into Worlds. They've really started to ramp up over the course of it. It feels like T1 have a lot to prove, but they have been showing it now in the main event.
It is always cool how, T1, they can just slump in summer, they can lose to Gen G all year long to create this storyline. They're like, yeah, we're the underdogs. The reigning champs are underdogs, with Gen G having such a good record versus them.
But we were spoiled already.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I cheated because I overheard it in the makeup room. It's Chovy and Gen G, so you were both wrong.
That's from the Korean community. That's what Laura was telling us. But of course, it works for either way. Now let's talk about the bracket and how it stands. Yesterday, I think we were left wanting just a little bit in terms of how that series played out, and hoping that it will be different today.
All right, the series might have been 3-0, but I'm so happy for this BLG team. It was great to kick off the day with the Finn jacket throw and then bookend it with his very sincere, heartfelt interview at the end of the day. And then looking ahead, he wants to face T1 coming out of this. He really wants that matchup against Deus. But it was just so cathartic to finally see them overcome their unexpected demons in Weibo Gaming and make it to the World's Finals.
I mean, that team is already, there's so many, legends there. I swear, Bin is a living legend of top lane already. If he can get his hands on the Summoner's Cup on a World Championship.
And a Jack skin?
Oh, yeah.
If Knight can do it, it's epic already that they're waiting for whoever wins today.
It is really awesome, but of course we need to find out who is going to join them. So let's send it over to Laura to see how the fans voted in our MasterCard fan predictions.
It is absolutely insane here. You see the fans here? Some of them have been here waiting for the players since 8 a.m. You see some drawings of the plane here, the Korean signs as well, even some flags. And even if 75% of the fans think that T1 is gonna win, there's also some love for Gen G here. But let's ask some T1 fans what they think. How long have you been waiting here?
I've been waiting here since 9 this morning, I think. 9, yeah.
How was it seeing them arrive at the venue?
Amazing. My heart is racing like crazy,
Well, let's ask them actually, who thinks T1 is gonna win today? All right, who thinks Gen G is gonna win today? One thing is sure, it's gonna be a banger shot.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Kintex. Hello and welcome to the LCK 2022 Summer Finals. Hello and welcome to the 2023 Spring Grand Finals pre-show.
And welcome everyone to the 2023 LCK Summer Rudy Bank 1 Grand Finals in Daejeon, South Korea.
안녕하세요, 에블리입니다. 오늘은 T1 Genji 2024 Autumn Finals.
I mean, it does feel like we kind of got cheated out of it summer, right? Like 3 years since T1 hadn't made it to a finals, Hanwha stopped them. 2 years since Genji hadn't won that final, then Hanwha stopped them. But we still get it for Worlds, so it kind of works out in the long run, you know?
Yeah, it works out for sure. Now, to get us going, we did prepare a little quiz for you because it is T1 versus Genji again, and there is a lot of stuff, so you can grab your whiteboards and I will ask the question. Then, if you want to answer immediately, you very, very much can, but it will be a 20-second timer. I'll just wait till you're all prepared.
Okay.
All right, so in this question, you get a point for every answer because it's twofold. Here we go. Genji has 10 straight series wins versus T1, which is the longest win streak in their head-to-head history. But what was the previous longest streak between them, and when? It is hard, I know.
Fight or make room for those
10 seconds. I think you're all kind of guessing, to be fair. 5,
Oh, they're long.
2, 1. You're done. You're done. We're done.
I have no hope.
All right, what do we got? What do we got?
Okay. So I got T1 2022, well, 2019 to
Oh, they're going
2022,
backwards.
6th streak.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
we
thought
have
it
the
was
same
only, I put only
years.
4.
I have T1 won 9 straight, spring 2019 to summer 2020.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah,
almost.
it was difficult. Okay, also 2 points here. How many consecutive best of 5 has T1 won at Worlds is the first part. And what is the longest streak all time? Also of them. I think this should be easier because we're going to count backwards, I guess.
Best of, right? Best of.
Series.
Okay, yeah.
4. Oh.
7. Oh my god, Emily.
double kill.
3, 2, 1, stop. All right, show me your answers.
I mean, they beat all the LPL last year, and then they beat TES this year.
It's 4.
4? Oh.
Why did you take it away?
I should have erased it.
And the longest was T1 won 10 consecutive best of 5 in 2017.
Oh, we got 1 half. Let's go.
You got that?
Yeah, let's go.
Nice. All right,
Running it down.
question 3 is worth 1 point. How many consecutive international matches, best of 1, best of 3, best of 5, has Genji won?
How many consecutive international
Matches, yeah.
and best of ones?
Yes. We're counting everything.
Is this year or all time? Like,
all time, I guess.
All
oh my
time?
god.
It's gonna take a while to count.
Oh,
back.
just MSI and Worlds and consecutive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. The longest
Damn,
streak?
this is hard.
It's very hard,
Yeah, I
actually.
have to remember
to be
the
fair, I
best
was just
one.
given these questions. I would definitely
Yeah.
not be able to answer them.
There's no use running.
I'm just writing a random number.
There is no strength in servitude.
Let's do, all right. I don't know. I picked a
going
number.
up.
I just picked a
MSI
number.
this year and Worlds this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 8! Let's go!
I counted correctly.
How did that happen?
We're
Oh my
too
god.
good. I mean,
That's
I
like-
studied incredibly hard for this test and came in prepared.
That is
so I
like,
really knew my.
That's like the LEC getting a win at Worlds and just stumble into one somehow.
This
We don't know
basically
how.
whole thing is counting streaks that
It
have
is.
happened.
I mean, yeah, it is. So, last one. Gumayushi has gone deathless for a record 7 consecutive Worlds knockout games. Who previously held the record?
Of knockout games with that weird
Deathless.
qualifier?
Yeah.
That is such a weird qualifier.
what?
Like, only knockout games?
Don't shoot the messenger, please.
It
Okay.
has to be someone who's in knockout games often.
I'm putting my...
Yeah.
Oh, hint. There was some news today.
Oh, I already have it. I already wrote it before they
But the number also, right?
Oh.
Yeah, well, it's fine. You all got it
You said
correct.
2. You said
Yeah, ruler, and it was 4, but that was my
I was
bad.
gonna guess
It was
that.
17.
We wrote it before the hint, right?
Yeah. No, I did not. Not even.
They're all winners.
I just wanted a high
I think
five.
I've written it down every question.
But that is crazy news. The news she's talking about is Ruler leaving JDG.
Yeah.
He's a free
And Ruler
agent.
has said in the past that he wants to end his career with Genji. Which is, I mean,
Oh
FaZe has
my
filled the
God.
spot.
I
FaZe
love
has already
that.
filled the spot.
Also, he's kind of a shadow protagonist in the minds of everybody looking at this best of 5 because, of course, Faker had the catch on him last year. Oh, I love it. It's all interwoven. Let's talk a little bit more as we have unsuccessfully played a quiz about these two teams. So I want to start with Gen G just a little bit because they were very much pushed last week, and there was a content piece or content they sent out about Mata in the locker room, I'm gonna say, for that game 5. Let's take a look.
I love this for Mata because even on his previous teams, he was a player, right? You heard of him, like, you know, going into games, helping his AD carries learn how to CS, whoosh. But like, it's great to see that from, again, a former world champion himself. He's been there before, just trying to pump up the team in a very
Yeah, I mean, FaZe is still 18 years old. So I actually think like going through that, you know, FlyQuest series, you know, even though, yeah, they, you know, won MSI and everything, having a veteran like that, Mata is legendary. To be able to, you know, refocus them is quite good.
Yeah, I think it also proves that we sometimes see them as these infallible demons that are so good at League, but that's not the case. All humans with those same emotions as everybody else, and when it gets to stress in a game 5, you do need someone to step in.
And I think they definitely did on Gen G's side. FlyQuest had them rattled, and you can see it kind of move back towards, hey, we want some comfort picks for these guys. Pays going on to the digs, having something where they could sit back and scale into the later portion of the game. It felt like Manny knew exactly what his team needed in that moment and was giving them the tools.
The man himself was sitting down to the floor, who's standing by with
Welcome to the Verizon Game Day interview. I'm joined by Coach Mata from Gen G to talk about everything that's been happening for the team last week. 안녕하세요. Thank you so much for joining me. I want to talk about what happened last week because obviously no one expected you to go 5 games against FlyQuest. I'm wondering about the impact of you guys going 3-0 in the group stage, in the sweep stage rather, and having less time on stage to train afterwards.
영향이 없지 않.
I mean, I can say there was an impact. I can't really deny that, but also we are pros, you know. I feel like that's just an excuse. So I want to say we underperformed and the opponents have a great preparation. So I think that was a combination of both things.
준비를 잘해가지고 좀 고전했던 경기였던 것 같아요.
Absolutely, and I want to reflect on something Behance told me after the series. He was like, I don't know what happened after game 1. It felt like we were making silly mistakes. We lost our League of Legends, from what he said. How did you refocus them as a coach? How did you make sure that they were going to be able to focus on what they needed to grab the victory in the end? What was the mental process between the games?
보통 대회를 진행하면은
So usually the bigger the stage or the stakes are, the lesser feedback I give to the players. I only bring out 1 or 2 like major mistakes that would have impacted the outcome of the game. But if that's something minor, I don't really bring it up. And also on that day, I felt like my players were not on their best form and their condition. So I focused on that to make sure that they can be back at their full condition. So one thing I figured throughout my Worlds experience as a coaching staff, you know, it's also important to make the players who are not doing their best or like underperforming to kind of make them become their best form again. So I think that's also an important part.
되는 것 같습니다.
And keeping all that in mind, how do you make sure that they're going to be ready?
일단 뭐 지난 경기에 많은 선수들이
Even in the previous quarters, I could tell that they were pretty nervous playing the match. So I wanted to make sure that I helped them feel more relaxed. You know, I was making some jokes for them to feel a lot more comfortable. I think, yeah, the coaching staff play a big role, but also I think Worlds, it all comes down to the player. It's where the players are proving themselves. So I think it's them who has to prove themselves. So I think they have to overcome this by themselves also. And all I can do is trusting and believing in them.
믿음밖에 줄 수 없을 것 같습니다.
Well, wishing you the best for today. Fighting. Thank you so much for the interview.
I love it how fighting is kind of like the thank you when interviewing someone from the LCK. But yeah, I love it there about fighting the demons every single time, right? Someone who's proven that over and over and over 4 times at Worlds is Faker. Going up versus Chovy, which will be, I think, obviously one of the main storylines going into today, Kobe. It's incredible, right? And even though Chovy and Gen G have had the upper hand, there is always something in the air when it comes to Worlds and Faker.
Everybody is so ready to latch on to the Faker magic, T1 magic that honestly does exist at Worlds.
Yeah, and I mean, look, these guys constantly set records when you look at the LCK. It's like most kills and assists ever for a person is Faker. Most titles in the LCK at 10. Most worlds for Faker as well. But when you look at the opposite side for Chovy, it's the first player ever globally to hit 100 KDA. The first player ever to hit 6 back-to-back of those playoff opportunities. Like, Chovy has been so incredible for this squad as well. And now he just has to try and take down the long-standing Demon King to see if he can move on to those final spots.
But Chovy's been here before, right? Domestically. And it's only, like, it's very apropos that he has to go through Faker first domestically, then goes on this massive title streak, right? Just barely broken this past summer by HLE. But then now he has to go through Faker once again on the international stage. It's just really appropriate.
It is, and we talked so much at MSI about it felt like a dam that had to break for him to get his first international title. Well, he did it at MSI, right? So a lot of those doubts should be washed away. But let's look at how these two have done in lane, specifically in this World Championship.
Yeah, and I think Chovy's been absolutely spectacular at just trying to get the control over his laning phase, have those really high CS numbers. Whereas when you look across at Faker, it's kind of been a lot of people helping him to succeed, to go onto these late game carries where you have things like the Silence and these kind of picks that can come alive, which only makes it more important when you see him coming out with these big gold leads that he's getting at that 14-minute mark.
And of course, those stats that you had just seen are like a lot of TES crushing stats that are pretty heavily weighted there because there's a lot less of a sample size. But if you look at the LCK stats, you know, with all of these games, Chovy had just been demolishing. Meanwhile, Faker struggled in a lot of lanes in the LCK in summer. And so now that we're at Worlds again, people are wondering, like, how powerful is the T1 glow up here? You know, changing meta, so also more comfortable champions, but Chovy is a monster.
Yeah, it also says something about Gen G's strength as a whole, right? That Chovy doesn't have to pull out these insane Chovy laning performances. I actually did think he had a really good one, very quietly actually, against FlagWest in Game 5 as Boulder. I thought he was just actually absolutely beasting TS in that game. We see the stacks. I believe he's second in all of those at this tournament to HLE Zeka.
He also peaked really hard and won the World Championship a couple of years ago now. All-time game record is 53 for Faker. For Chovy, I mean, it's pretty insane. But let's talk about Gen G a little bit more about how they got here, right? And the fact that, what should we take from the fact that they went all 5 games versus FlyQuest? Was it ultimately a good thing for them to iron out their mistakes, or a bad thing, and that there is now so much to look at in Table T1?
So I actually am of the opinion that it was a good thing for Gen G because, you know, they hadn't played that many games at Worlds already, and the evolution of the meta has been pretty quick. If we can pull up the Champion Select, then we'll be able to look at some of the evolution of their draft in that series. Also, remember the first game of the series? FlyQuest absolutely got a big advantage in the lane swap versus them.
Yep.
Both Canyon and Keen were pretty far behind. I don't know if we can pull up the actual graphic. There we go. This one is going to help. So this is a lot to look at, but as soon as it does come up on screen there for you, you can kind of go back and remember how in the opener, Gen G did a very like kind of previous meta star, you know, and they had the Ahri and everything, but they lost to the full like death ball team fighting scaling of FlyQuest. And so then they started to make some of these adjustments here, you know, and they were like, well, we're going to need some more side laning and some scaling with the Kassadin. That one, they barely squeaked out though, and it was actually a lot of help from FlyQuest giving money early to the Kassadin. I don't believe the drawing is actually showing up there. But as they progress, you know, you can kind of see it on screen. That then they over-chased in that game versus the double 80 carries of FlyQuest, gave them extra money, and then lost there as well. And after that one, they themselves incorporated again the double 80 carries for that. And the very strong by having the Maokai for the front line there for them as well. So honestly, working through born Dave's name, and you heard him end in the interview afterwards too. He was like, we are going to pick up some more picks. We are going to take this as an opportunity to re-examine the lane swaps as well as the drafts coming into now an opponent that they know ever so well in T1. I think that is actually good for Gen G heading into this match.
It might be, and your drawing was wonderful.
What, did it actually show up though?
I don't know, maybe on the stream, but not for a preview. Who knows? Who knows?
Schrodinger's drawing.
Yeah. Indeed, and I think we can all agree that regardless of our prediction, right, if you follow kind of the normal order of things, the normal order of how Gen G has done this entire year, taking out the MSI finals perhaps, and the summer, sorry, not the MSI finals, the summer finals, that they are the stronger team. They should be coming into Worlds, and I just want to remind people of last year when T1 went up against JDG, right? It was a similar story for T1, Daga. They came into Worlds, people would not rate them that highly, and then this happens, right? In a moment where everything is up against it, and Faker has to take it into his own hands.
Yeah, and I think that's the clutch factor that Faker can bring to the table, but it was also a lot of T1 breaking and redefining the meta to fit their style, and we're also starting to see a little bit of that with the T1 drafts as well, with Keria bringing out things like the Bards, the Nikos, the Pikes, and saying, look, this is our style and our game, and we're going to show up and play it. And I think when you add to that just how strong they can be, finding these plays, making these moments that stand the test of time in the history of League of Legends, that's where T1 thrive, and I'm very excited to see what they can do against Gen G.
Yeah, and it makes it super interesting given the state of both these teams all year, right? Like Gen G has not been able to get the better of T1 pretty routinely for the past 2 years. T1 was looking very shaky. It's kind of insane to remind ourselves they are a 4th seed, and I think here we hear from Chovy himself. He must defeat Faker to earn the right to be at the top. He knows this better than anyone, being in that exact same position and eventually having to surpass Faker en route to becoming the best performing mid laner in the world. And I think I'm so curious to see how this is going to turn out with what T1 have done at this tournament already and what Gen G have been able to do against T1 for the past 2 years.
Yeah, in my opinion, I feel like T1 are usually best looking when they have like hard pushing top Rosea, very aggressive play, and pushing bottom at the same time. So they have like 2 points of attack, whereas Gen G, normally they're stacking up towards mid and late game, and you feel like unless T1 makes some flashy engages and like fight their way out of it, Gen G have that advantage the later the game does go.
There's so much to talk about. I feel like we won't get there, but there's a couple of touching points that I think are really important, you know. Owner is one that comes to mind, and I know you prepared to draw my life.
I have. So let's get ready for Draw My LCK Life. Owner. Moon owner Hyunjun began his pro career with T1 in 2020. He has spent his entire career thus far with the T1 organization. When Owner was 12, he heard about how the shy is always the shy hit Challenger at 15 years old and it inspired him to keep grinding. It was also around this time in junior high that he realized he wanted to become a pro gamer. As part of a controversial 10-man roster experiment in 2021 LCK Spring, Owner actually faced a lot of doubt and strife in his first split, going as far as to say he didn't feel like he was necessarily ready to debut because he was rotating through junglers. He became the T1 starting jungler that summer, and in 2022 found his home with the now famed DOFGK Zeus Owner, Faker, Kumayushi, and Keria lineup. They made Worlds Finals that year, but narrowly lost to DRX. Once a lightning rod for criticism of his team, Owner has become a stable force for T1 and now aims for his 2nd Worlds trophy as a reigning world champion along with the rest of T1. I think the thing I'd want to stress is he's had, again, a lot of ups and downs in his career, both off and on the Rift. And this past summer, I actually thought when T1 were really struggling, he maintained a pretty consistent performance to kind of steady them at times. That was really crucial and not something we'd yet seen from him as a player.
Talking about steadiness in the bot lane, I'm sorry. You are steady by my side as well, but it is time for today's featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz.
T1's Kumayushi faces Gen G's Ace in our featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz. These legendary marksmen have faced each other many times and have gone blow for blow, but lately it has been Ace getting the upper hand. winning the LCK 3 times in a row in the last 2 years, beating Gumayushi in the finals whenever they met, every single time.
Genji's so far ahead. Whippo's gonna be your target here next, as the Shockwave doesn't do much. Pain getting the kill on Whippo. Genji just cutting them down like flies. Another triple for Pain.
We cannot deny the world's ball T1 seems to magically receive every year. The lowest LCK seed team in the quarterfinals, they were the only one to sweep their opponents. And it was off the back of Gumayushi's deathless performance.
Now the turn back, the bullet time, an equalizer of their own. Halsey coming in, Jackie Love about to fall, Carrier going over the wall, it's a little bit over eager. TES still standing, Jackie Love still standing, Double Lady carries, but Vinker and the clutch, the arm guard, he goes golden, he buys a moment. TN perfect timing, but it does not matter, because here comes Guma, baby. Double coming through, T1 takeover.
The unkillable Demon Prince now stands unfallen for 7 Worlds Knockout games in a row. Hayes be able to take down the Crown Prince over T1 reign supreme at Worlds yet again.
And I do think Pace has been absolutely standout performer for Gen G over the course of themselves domestically. He's been able to pick up things like the Zeeks and be the best Zeeks in the LCK. He's been able to fit into multiple different styles, but no matter what they need from him, Pace has been consistently able to stand up and be that guy for Gen G.
Yeah, it's really important for people to understand that previously I think people saw Paze as being carried by the rest of his team. This summer, he really stepped into his own and earned his spot as one of the best AD carries in the world.
Absolutely, and I think we've seen a lot from the Gen G roster in terms of that stability and being able to perform at a very, very high level. But I think the question on everyone's lips is, will it happen now when the pressure is the absolute highest? We know what has followed Chovy for a lot of his career, which we thought was erased, you know, coming into this World Championship. But is it, Kobe?
I think that it will be for Genji this time around. I mean, we showcased, you know, Mata and the coaching there. I also think for him, it is really nice to have a bot lane partner like Ed. You know, they showed the comp clip after the Twitch pick, and then so he's like, I told you! And he's like really always like giving him confidence, and they're definitely a team that can also pull out some of these other range picks. I would say definitely Canyon too, as far as some of the draft things they can do.
I think though when you're talking about pressure, that was kind of the thing that me disappointed me. So I want to see more from them coming into this series because against FlyQuest, it was kind of like, hey, we're going back towards the same to give you comfort. But when you look at the opposite side for T1, Gumayushi has been incredible. Rain Hailers know this guy is stepping up for them. It doesn't even matter that we're getting Carrier like roaming away from him. Gumayushi's playing the laning phase incredibly intelligently, making sure he's picking up all that CS, and then when it gets to the team fight, he's coming in with low resources, divvying out a ton of gold.